Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Monique Alicassi. I am the first year writing program director here at the Howard University and our dynamic Department of English. Today is Monday, September 23rd, 2024, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to our inaugural Octavia Butler Lecture Series. We are so thrilled, delighted, and humbled to have with us as we kick off our inaugural lecture series with the one and only Dr. Daniel Black. Please, everyone, give a virtual round of applause for the Dr. Daniel Black. Excellent, excellent. So I want to begin by sharing with all of you. Thank you again, each and every one of you that's with us here locally, nationally, and or internationally. Please note that this lecture series is part of our ongoing commitment to academic excellence, cultural empowerment, and intellectual exploration. We are deeply inspired by the visionary work of Octavia Butler, whose writing transcends genres and challenges us to imagine new futures rooted in equity, justice, resilience, and equity. Butler's legacy continues to offer us profound insights into the human condition, especially for those who have been historically marginalized. The purpose for our lecture series today is twofold. And I'd like to share with you, before we begin, a quick rundown of the itinerary before we get into the purpose, the goals and objectives, followed by our highly anticipated keynote speaker for today. So we will, after opening remarks, I will introduce Dr. Daniel Black, followed by Dr. Daniel Black's keynote address. And followed by that, we'll have a Q&A session and closing remarks. So the purpose for the Octavia Butler Lecture Series is twofold. One, to honor the work and legacy of Octavia Butler, a literary giant who used speculative fiction as a powerful tool to explore issues of race, gender identity, and the future of humanity. And two, to create a platform for critical discussions that push the boundaries of thought, encouraging our students and community members to reflect on the intersections of literature, culture, and social justice. Pardon me, one second. So as far as our objectives for our lecture series is to provide a dynamic space for discussion and learning. Each lecture will challenge us to think critically about the intersection of race, gender, technology, and Afrofuturism, echoing the bold themes of Butler's work. Also, we aim to encourage interdisciplinary exploration. This series is not just about literature. It's indeed about how Butler's ideas can influence fields like philosophy, science, politics, the humanities, and beyond. We want to encourage our students, our faculty, our staff, and the global community at large to see the connections between art and activism, between storytelling and societal change, to foster a community of learning and reflection. We want this series to be a space where scholars, students, and the global community at large, our members are alike, and feel empowerment to share ideas, ask questions, and seek out new ways of understanding the world around us. So now, without further ado, I want to introduce to you Dr. Daniel Black. But of course, I cannot immediately introduce my dear big brother and renowned scholar and one of my favorite storytellers of this time without sharing his dynamic background. And he's just getting started. Dr. Daniel Black is a distinguished scholar, novelist, and professor whose work centers on the African American experience, particularly focusing on the cultural and spiritual dimensions of the Black community. He is a professor of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University and the author of numerous critically acclaimed works, including Perfect Peace, The Coming, Don't Cry for Me, and The Sacred Place. His writing delves deeply into the legacies of slavery, Black identity, and the power of communal healing through storytelling. Indeed, Dr. Black is the recipient of multiple awards, including the Phyllis Whitley Book Award, the Distinguished Writers Award, and the Lambda Literary Award for his poignant and evocative storytelling. He has indeed been recognized for his ability to weave African traditions and spirituality into narratives that speak to both historical and contemporary issues faced by African Americans. His novels are widely used in academic settings, serving as important texts in discussions on race, gender, sexuality, and the history of the African diaspora. Recently, Dr. Black went viral on social media, delivering one of the greatest commencement speeches of our time at Clark Atlanta University this year. According to the YouTube station for CAU, quote, at the 2024 spring commencement ceremonies at Clark Atlanta University, 30-year African American Studies professor Dr. Daniel Black delivered one of the most compelling addresses ever. It was part sermon, part challenge, and part affirmation, end of quote. And please feel free to screenshot the YouTube link, because if you never heard Dr. Daniel Black, that commencement, it went viral. That's all I have to say. That was a mic drop event. I've had to revisit it several times, and you will too. You can also just YouTube Dr. Daniel Black and CAU commencement. It'll come up. In addition to his literary work, Dr. Black is an engaging public speaker. He is known for his deep knowledge of African American history, literature, and culture. And his keynote address today will focus on the power of storytelling and beyond as a tool for both personal and collective liberation, drawing connections between the experiences of the African diaspora and the themes of resilience and healing in African American literature, especially with our common read, Kindred, by Octavia Butler. I thank each and every one of you at this time, and I thank you for joining us. I hope today's session not only deepens your understanding of Butler's powerful legacy, but also challenges you to think critically about the stories we tell and the futures we imagine. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Dr. Daniel Black with a huge round of applause.
Listen, thank you tremendously. Thank you so much, Dr. Kasi, and thank you so much, faculty, great faculty at Howard University, and you amazing Bison, you great students. I'm so appreciative. I must rep Clark Atlanta University. I have to do it. I got to do it. I'd be in trouble if I didn't. So we Panthers are happy to be in conversation and happy to be here. And thank you, students, for taking out a moment for us to talk about Octavia Butler and Kindred, and just to be clear about why she wrote this book and its impact. So I'll do this address and then we'll talk. Octavia Butler's Kindred is a sacred prayer offered on behalf of Black youth who might possibly believe that they would have fought against slavery harder than their ancestors did. Hear me. The novel shows that no one is able to imagine the hardships and brutality that Black ancestors endured. No one. 400 years of bondage ruined a people's self-worth and collective consciousness. Yet contemporary Black youth inherit their people's resolve and determination. This is Dana's lesson, that she is, in fact, the culmination of her people's strength. She is, in fact, the keeper of her people's promise. That's what this book is about. She is quite literally the carrier of survivors' blood. Interestingly enough, Octavia Butler achieves this sci-fi moment not by leaping into the future, as most sci-fi writers do, but by returning to the past, a place where the excellence of Black people might have been missed. In this novel, she shows how Black people's resilience saved them, and how working together was and is the secret of Black liberation. Like every other slave, Dana is beaten and treated like a non-human thing. This helps her understand what her ancestors endured and the price they paid for her existence. That's the real theme of this novel, the price Black ancestors paid for Black life in America. I'm going to say that again. That's really the theme of this novel, the price that Black ancestors paid for Black life in America. Octavia Butler seeks to teach Black youth the unbelievable achievement of a people white folks thought would never amount to anything. But they were wrong. They didn't know whom they had captured. They didn't know the fight, the energy, the determination, the zeal, the commitment, the hope, the vitality, the fortitude, the grit, the passion, the fervor, the strength, the courage of African people. White captors didn't know that they brought warriors and cooks and farmers and healers and blacksmiths to this land. Yet once they discovered it, they began to beat us because they wanted us to know who they thought we really were. And that's the power of kindred. Dana is forced to discover the magical resolve of her own people, even held in chains. She sees Africans run from plantations and construct their own freedom. She sees Africans fight for the right to be in love, whether white folks agree or not. She witnesses all the creative ways Black people learned to resist bondage that often white people never knew about. In other words, she discovers that she comes from an artistic, resourceful, innovative bloodline. She is far more than she ever imagined, and so are you. In fact, you great scholars at Howard University must remember who you are. You must recall that, like Dana, people died for you. Yes, you. That's why you're there now. You must remind yourself that if Nat Turner could lead a slave rebellion on your behalf, the least you could do is study hard. I'm going to say that again. If Nat Turner, oh God, help me today, could lead a slave rebellion on your behalf before you even exist, the least you can do now is study hard. You must remind yourself that if Harriet Tubman could run, not walk, run from the South to the North, you can run to class when you oversleep. You must remind yourself that if Sojourner Truth could stand in the face of opposition and speak truth to power, you can avoid distractions and earn the greatest GPA possible. You must remind yourself that if Frederick Douglass learned to read by moonlight, you can at least go to the library. Woo, God. You must remind yourself that if Shirley Chisholm could run for president, If Shirley Chisholm could run for president before most people believed in her, you can graduate whether others believe in you or not. You're not lucky to be at Howard. Lord help me. You're not lucky to be at Howard, young people. You're not blessed to be in college. You're not privileged to be at an HBCU. You're chosen to be at Howard because somebody paid for it. I ain't talking about money, because money ain't your inheritance. I'm talking about sacrifice. And this is what Kindred is really about. Sacrifice. Who pays that sacrifice? Who benefits from the sacrifice? Dana is sent back to the plantation because her generation, if they're not careful, y'all forgot the sacrifice. You may never have known it, but somebody paid for you before you ever got to the door. Somebody already opened it. Somebody kicked the door down so you could walk through it. Don't cheat yourself into believing that the door was so easily opened because you didn't have any strain when you approached it. Somebody got there before you. The fact that someone dreamed that one day you'd get a degree because Black people died for it, that's your inheritance. That's why you're in college. Because someone died for your right to be there. That's what the past teaches us. The question, y'all, is this: whose body wrote the check for your future? I'm going to say that again. Whose Black body wrote the check for your future? Whose blood opened the way for your prosperity? Whose sweat guaranteed your successful matriculation? Your own people, that's the answer. Your own kinfolks, that's the answer. Your mama, your daddy, your grandmama, your granddaddy, your cousins, your uncles, your big mama, your aunties. That's who did it. That's who did it. Even if you're on scholarship, Black folks already paid for the money before these white philanthropists gave it back to you. God help me. That's why this book is called Kindred. So you never forget who you owe. And you do owe. The sacrifice people made for you is not free. You must pay it back. Why? So that younger brothers and sisters and cousins and kin get their chance. And how do you pay it back? Listen to me careful, young people. By reading books you were not assigned. Just because it's not on the syllabus doesn't mean don't read it. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Just because somebody didn't put it on an examination does not mean you shouldn't read it. You give back by helping a friend who's struggling, who might be having a difficult time in a class, but that comes easily to you. That's your assignment. That person's assistance is your assignment. How do you give back? By calling your grandmother and making sure she's doing all right while you're in college. How do you give back? By earning a 3.7 to 3.8, 3.9 your first semester at Howard. How do you give back? By avoiding weed and alcohol. I said it. Even though you can still go to the party. Listen, we know how to party without becoming drunk and high with it. Come on, y'all. How do you give back? By writing papers so brilliant that your professors suggest that you should publish them. This is what Kindred is trying to teach you. It sent Dana back so that she could get the pieces of the puzzle she missed. Dana had to step back in time in order that she could see how the blood in her very veins was thinking about her before she was ever conceived, how that blood was trying to make a way for her, how that blood was pushing and prodding and begging and praying to assure that when this little Black girl came along, there was nothing that could stop her. That's your inheritance as well. You also give back by remembering that the same God who brought our people through slavery is going to bring you to graduation. I don't care how hard it gets at Howard. I don't care if no one calls you. I don't care if you never get a care package. You are the hope and the dream of a slave. You are a hope and a dream of somebody who came before you. That's the power. That's the legacy. That's the inheritance. That's the assurance of what it means to be Black and young and an HBCU. That somebody else's dream is holding you up. Your success is already guaranteed if you won't quit. No one and nothing can stop you. No setback can cancel the setup of your destiny. Oh God, no setback can cancel the setup of your destiny. No one in the White House or any other house can revoke the promise of God over your life. I speak success over every single one of you, and I declare your victory so completely that no one in the world will ever miss it. You are God's child. You are God's hope, just like Dana was. You are your people's assurance. You are the one we've been waiting for. You look in the mirror and see the promise, y'all. This thing is serious. Why? Somebody gave their whole life for the hope and the possibility that you were going to come along and make their dying worth it. Make their life valuable. Their names are not written down in history books. Their names are not put on a plaque anywhere. The only way they're going to have significance and value is when you speak their name in the libation and when you admit that they are powerful and you are powerful because they are powerful. So rise up, O mighty bison. Take your place. The planet has been expecting. Thank you.
Wow. Can we give a round of applause? What a powerful and uplifting keynote address. Powerful, powerful. Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Black.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Do we have time at this time for a Q&A? I think we have about a good 15 minutes or so. If anyone would like to unmute and introduce yourself, any questions, comments, reflections, questions, you can unmute at this time, or you can put it in the chat, either one. And yes, this recording will be available as well on our YouTube channel. Any questions?
I'll just say my name. Let me turn on my camera. My name is Deja Teague. I'm a freshman here at Howard, majoring in computer science from Oakland, California. And I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to us. Like, it really touched me and motivated me. So I just want to say thank you so much.
Deja, you are absolutely welcome. And Deja, you're gorgeous. You're just beautiful.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you're here. And Deja, I'm not here because I have nothing else to do, right? Nor did I say what I was saying because I think it just sounds good. I really, literally know and believe that. Because one of the things I think must be the greatest crime on the planet is to give your whole life for kids and the kids never, ever, ever, ever know why. And to give your whole life for a generation. And that generation never acknowledge the blood, the price, the sweat that you paid for them. I think that's an absolute crime. So Deja, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad all of your colleagues are there. And I pray that this would at least do one thing, and that is make you really say, you know, I do owe excellence. I owe that. It's not just good if I do it. I actually owe it. And I'm going to ask all of you, pay your debt. Yes, ma'am.
Amen. Thank you. And we have another hand raised. You can just unmute.
Good morning, everyone. Peace. My name is Kamisha Muhammad, and I'm here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I just got to experience Dr. Black at Hillside International Truth Center. And I started following you on Instagram, and that's how I found out about this whole event.
Oh,
And
wow.
I just want to say that I discovered Octavia Butler at a banned book conference that I went to here in Atlanta. And so I have voraciously jumped into her
Yes,
material, and I really have enjoyed reading it. And I agree, no matter how old we are, there is
right.
still something that we can give back
Yes.
to uplift those who are coming behind us. So I appreciate you, Dr. Black, and I'm inspired by you, and
Oh,
I'm grateful to be here today.
thank you so much. I
Mhm.
appreciate you. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beautiful. I see Dante, Aziza, and Jabria. You can unmute. And thank you so much, Kamisha, for joining us all the way from
Absolutely.
Georgia.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dante Newland, freshman accounting major from Queens, New York. And thank you, Mr. Black, for your presentation today. But my question is, what inspired you to do what you do today?
I do, and I teach African American studies, brother Dante. And first of all, it's nice to meet you, my brother. Absolutely.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
And brother, I'm gonna be honest. I think what inspired me was, I went to Clark Atlanta University as an undergrad. It was Clark College then. And brother, when I got to campus and saw all these brilliant black professors teaching every subject imaginable, I come from rural Arkansas. I was so flabbergasted, man. I was so amazed. I was so outdone. I didn't know what to do. I was like, where the hell did this come from? Black doctors and lawyers and black folks teaching English and teaching science and teaching social studies. And from that moment, I wanted to know what America had hidden from me. I wanted to know what it had never told me about my people. I wanted to know about the genius of blackness. Follow me. I wasn't yearning so much to know what white people had done to us. Much of that I knew. What I wanted to know was, what was the genius of black people in the midst of it all? So that's why I studied and continue to study Black history, African American studies, Africana studies, because I'm never, ever, ever over. I never get over the genius of how my people survived and what my people created and what my people have done when really the rest of the world expected our failure. It's the grandest narrative. It's the grandest human narrative on this planet. That's why I do what I do.
Thank you. I have another question. Do you have any contact information? Because I was looking up your name on LinkedIn and I didn't see it. So
Yes, sir. You could go to my Instagram page, my YouTube page. I think it's Dr. Daniel Black. Check me out on Instagram, on YouTube, man. Shoot me a message. Let's holler.
all right, thank you.
Absolutely, brother.
Awesome. And I'll include the contact information for Dr. Daniel Black in the comment section as well. Yes, someone else.
There was Aziza.
Yes, me, Jabria.
Yes,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Both of us at the same time. You can go first.
okay. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, I'll turn my camera on too. My name is Aziza. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm a health management major, focusing in information systems. And I do appreciate the prologue that you gave earlier. I appreciate it a lot. My dad does mention to read books outside, which is given. But I did have a question because in my English class we read How It Feels to Be Colored Me by Zora Neilson. I don't know if you know her, Zora Neilson Hurston. And you were discussing how the modern society, like modern day society, is built off of Black Americans, and that as students here, we are the future, and that we should continuously be thankful and paying back our ancestors. But in this, I guess, in How It Feels to Be Colored Me with Zora Neale Hurston, she discusses how she doesn't want to feel the pressure of being Black 24/7. But she also recognizes the importance of being Black and where she comes from. So how would you respond to like how we as students should be able to both manage the importance of being Black and where we come from, and also trying to just be ourselves and be human at the same time?
I would put it this way. You don't get extra points for being Black. You don't get extra points for being Black. You get extra points for being Black and excellent. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right. In other words, the joy of being black, the joy of being black is the genius of how we always do art, how we always survive, how we always dance, how we always write, how we always sing. I don't care where we go. I don't care under what circumstances. I don't care if we were on the planet Mars. Black people would be doing blackness because it's in us. It's not on us. It's in us. It's who we is. It's who we be. Right? That's the joy of being black. The joy of being black is not achieving what white people once had. It's not getting a big house since they once had a big house. No. That's the thing I would tell you all as students, and that is be careful to the point of having a degree from Howard is not to now go live a life that we think insults white supremacy. The point of a degree from Howard is for you to love yourself so fiercely that you don't need white supremacy's applause. That's the joy of being at Howard. When you leave there, you ought to love yourself so fiercely that if you drive a Toyota Corolla the rest of your life, it's because you using that money to bring other kids to Howard. See, don't let materiality be the measure of your excellence. Don't let the acquisition of things be the way you know whether or not you are marvelous and beautiful and powerful and successful. The way you know you're marvelous, beautiful, powerful, and successful is if somebody else calls your name when they get in trouble. The way you know is how many people are clear that they went to a black college because you helped pay the tuition. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, we've got to move white supremacy to the side when we start thinking about our own excellence and make sure that it's measured in our own cultural terms. Yes, ma'am.
Understood. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, just unmute. Woo. Taking it all in.
Danielle.
Hi, my name is Jabria.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'm a jazz studies major, vocal performance minor from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yes, Philly.
I don't have a specific question, but I had to come and unmute and face you as personally as possible to thank you so deeply for your words.
Wow.
I feel like if there was anybody confirming in this call that what you said did exactly what it was supposed to do, is me. Like, I feel like I'm on the verge of tears right now. I can feel your words echoing through my chest, through my soul. Like, it was exactly what I needed to hear. And I really wanted to highlight how at this very point in time, I am a little bit discouraged with the amount of work and the rate that is coming, but I was focusing more so on what was discouraging me and not what needs to be encouraging me. And you brought that to my attention. And again, I just wanted to thank you so very much. And I mean, that's all.
Jabria, I'm going to tell you this. Ma'am, listen to me very carefully. What you need right now, right, is simply the clarity that you build a house one brick at a time. But if you look at all the bricks at the same time, it'll overwhelm you.
Yeah.
One at a time. Do a thing called discipline. Do a thing called structure. And that is decide what work can be done today and when. What work could happen tomorrow. Don't think of all the work today. If you do that, the irony is sometimes we can be so overwhelmed that we don't do anything at all.
Yeah.
One brick at a time. And listen, I'm going to say this to you too, Jabria. Do you know how many people have already graduated from Howard over the years?
I don't.
They were no more brilliant than you. You will too.
Thank you.
They did, and so will you. One brick at a time.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You can just unmute. I see Kaori and Danielle.
Hi, my name is Kaori Cannon. I'm a Howard student, a freshman biology major from Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes, ma'am. Hey.
Hi. So I just wanted to say thank you for this speech. I woke up this morning feeling very unmotivated. My seasonal depression is starting to kick in. And everything you said just inspired me. Like it kind of put a reverse on how I was feeling this morning.
Hey,
So thank you.
I'm so happy about that.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
And really, we have Dr. Kasi to thank. She's the one who got me here and assured that that this could happen. So we have her to thank. But I'm so glad my words motivated you and helped to excite you. And sister, I'm telling you, you too. Just get ready. And seasons do shift and change, and you'll feel the change even in your body, right? But it won't change your excellence, and it won't take away any of your brilliance. So as it changes, you change with it. Sometimes you can study in the library. Sometimes you can study in your room. Sometimes sit outside on the lawn. In other words, as stuff changes, you flow with it, right? And get what you
Right.
need.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Powerful.
Go ahead, Danielle.
Whew.
Can
Thank
you
you.
guys hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You can just unmute when you're ready.
Okay. Hi, my name is Daniel Lawrence, freshman, computer science major from Queens, New York. And my question to you or statement would be, what are your thoughts or what do you have to say about code switching as a Black person being in a white community, or tips on that? Or not tips per se, or what are your thoughts?
Well, code switching is part of the inheritance of what it means to be Black in America. Code switching means we're very clear that we're not home. Code switching means we know that we were stolen and taken to someone else's land, right? Code switching is our clarity that sometimes there are things we want to say to each other that we don't want other folks to know about. Code switching is the secret sacred gesturing, the secret sacred language among us as a people, because we're still at war. We're still at war for ourselves. We're still at war for our minds. We're still at war for our bodies. So the code switching is critical. I pray every Black person in America knows the language and studies it well, because there are times when we have to speak and we don't need anybody to know what we said but us. It's critical. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, we need it and we have to have it. It's like if anybody went to Howard and someone hollers, HU, you better know what to say. If you don't know what to say, then you didn't go to Howard. Then you didn't go there. Right? And if you did, they ought to kick you out. In other words, it's a signature of who's in the family. It's a beautiful thing, yes.
Beautiful. Let's see, Cheyenne.
Hi, yes, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, hi, my name is Cheyenne Jordan. I am a freshman communications major with a concentration in journalism, and I am from California. And I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming today. Truly, like your words today, I'm hearing everything you're saying, the advice you're giving to everybody. It truly resonates with me and is inspirational. And I just agree with the fact, and like it's something I hold myself to a standard of, like we're carrying the torch that
Yes.
our ancestors and the people before us have passed to us, and it's up to us to like make them proud and to like truly not only do it for them but to do it for ourselves. And I just want to thank you so much. I'm tearing up just like thinking about it, and I just really appreciate you coming out today. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Cheyenne, remember, you also have to pass this torch to somebody else. See, this is why this is important. That means you got to run well. Don't hand me a baton, right? And we're behind.
Right.
Right. If you can, at least make us even. If not, put us a couple of steps ahead.
Right.
Because then when I run, right, I can hold down a lead. But if I'm starting out from behind, it's going to be rough. Right? So you got to understand, yes, somebody handed you a baton, and you must hand it off also. That
Right.
means you got to be careful about how excellently you run. And you have to be careful about being conscious of who you give the baton to. Because don't give it to some old raggedy somebody who is going to take the baton and sit down. Don't give the baton to somebody who and see, sitting down means, oh my God, didn't you see how hard I just finished running?
Right.
So you owe it to me to run hard, because didn't you watch me sweat? But that's what our ancestors are saying to us. They're saying you can't go to no Howard and come home with no 2.8. Who does that? For all of that money, you're going to bring a 2.8, a 3.2 for all of that money? Listen, you could have spent $4,000 at a community college and gotten C's and stayed at the house. But if you're going to go to a place of excellence like Howard University, if you're going to go to a premier institution like Howard University, collect the jewels, collect the gems, bring back home a treasure.
I plan to. Thank you. And
Yes,
I didn't
ma'am.
know much about you today, but I will definitely be following you in the future. And I look forward to the projects you have coming out soon. Thank you
I
so much.
appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow. Yes, yes. Cheyenne, definitely. Dr. Black, let me, as soon as you Google Daniel Black, just look at the long, impressive list. This is someone you definitely want to stay in contact with. And this is what we do here at Howard. We bring the best of the best and the greatest. And what better way to unveil this inaugural lecture series with the greats? Yes. Do we have any other questions, comments? I know part of our first, I know part of our first year writing program, Dr. Black, there were a few concerns, maybe like 2 or 3 students that had shared once we unveiled Octavia Butler's Kindred as the common text for this semester. And so the question was, will there be triggers in this book? And do we have to read about the past again? Do we have to read about slavery? What are your thoughts and your response and the importance of that, looking back as we move forward, and Afrofuturism as we're preparing for that? Yeah.
Right. Here's the first thing I'm going to say. Of course, there are going to be triggers in the book. Black existence is a trigger in America. You can't talk about Black people in America and there be no triggers. Black existence in America is a disruption. So yes, there's going to be triggers. Yeah, absolutely. But the genius of Black people is that in the middle of trauma, in the middle of destruction, in the middle of triggers, Black people not survive. Black people still built institutions. In the middle of triggers, Black people still built churches. In the middle of triggers, Black people still built families. In the middle of triggers, Black people still sent Black kids to school. Triggers do exist, they do, and they're important. I am not in any way putting them down. All I'm saying is Black genius is greater than any trigger that we could ever know. The trigger will be in the text, absolutely. Absolutely. But the genius will heal it.
My. Billy, I see it. Billy, yes.
Hello, I am Billy Edwards. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a social worker. And like Kamisha, I saw the flyer on your page, so I couldn't help but join in. It's always an honor to hear from you.
Yes,
I'm a big fan, so it's just a pleasure to be in the room.
I'm the speaker in January for the city.
Really?
Yes, for the Martin Luther King, the big Martin Luther King celebration. I'm the keynote this year.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I'll be there. Thank you for that little tribute. For that preview, rather. Thank you for that. When I ask this question or make this statement, I'm not expecting you to give me an answer, but I'm in the process of building programming for neglected independent children and families here in the city of Nashville. And of course, predominantly they're Black and brown families. How would you suggest, or what are your thoughts on approaching these children and families who are not connected to their Blackness, don't really know who they are or where they're come from, or the genius that you spoke of that's on the inside of us? I deal with a lot of children and families that is foreign to them. You know, it's reality TV, it's celebrities. That's what they connect to.
Right.
how
Right.
how would you suggest facing the challenge of not just connecting the children, but connecting their adult parents to who we really are, just as you spoke of earlier?
You know what? I would suggest two things, and it kind of came to me as you were talking. And one of the things I would encourage social workers, especially, to begin to do, and that is to include movies, books, TED talks, etc., as part of as part of the work you do as social workers in terms of recommendations to families. In other words, recommend that families watch a certain movie together. Like, and one of a good one is what's Down in the Delta that Maya Angelou did. Great movie that teaches the importance of family, that teaches the healing nature of family, that teaches how families can come together, and really urge families to watch the movie together. Right, the together is what's important. But there are tons and tons and tons and tons of such movies or TED Talks or books or even excerpts from books, right? And I think it's important that social workers begin to do this, so families begin to create a what I call a memory legacy, things they did together, right? As a part of a sociologist or a social worker's recommendation that do a certain kind of healing work, right? And there are tons of those kinds of movies. And if you want to, contact me and I'd even help you find, a list of them. But that kind of thing is extremely creative, and families tend to have fun doing it. But it'll teach the lesson even without the parents knowing it.
Okay. That's what I need. That's what I was looking for.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Powerful.
Hello.
Yes, please go right ahead.
Hi, I'm Howard Clay. I'm a filmmaker here in Atlanta with Howard Clay Films. And Dr. Monique told me about you and sent me over your links and everything. And it's an honor to hear you speak. I missed you at Hillside only because I had a little cold.
Yes, sir.
So I decided to stay home. But I just wanted to say that, you were talking about movies and everything. And I know for my company, we stress showing positive images of Black and brown people, but also too, I say a lot to young people when I talk to them about filmmaking is I believe we hold the same responsibility that you were just speaking about, is that as Blacks and as brown people to show the truth, but also too to give back and practice excellence in order to make the films that tell our stories.
Yes.
I don't mind, and this is my question and I want your feedback on it, is that I don't mind films that talk about slavery and the past and things like that, but I prefer them be written by us or come from books from us. What do you feel about that? Because I know that the one that Will Smith was in, and I'm not going to say anything negative about it, but it was written by someone that was not of African American descent and or even brown for that matter. So how do you feel about that when it comes to some of these triggering and past films and things of that nature? Like you said, I know there's going to be a trigger, but does it matter whether it's written by us or should we accept it even if it's written by someone who is not us?
Brother, I might say something even more controversial because I agree with what you're saying, but I'm gonna take it further. I don't even think that it being written by one of us is enough. For me, it has to be written by one of us who has studied us.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Because see, some of us are willing to pimp us too.
Right.
You see?
Uh-huh.
I would love it to be written by one of us who even has studied the discipline of Africana studies so that one understands how perspective, not just the details, but how the very perspective itself matters.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's extremely, extremely, extremely important. I think it's important that it's us and someone who has taken time to read and study about the nature of how Black studies works, the gift of Black studies, because that would sharpen what we say, how we say it. Yeah. In other words, it's like the difference between talking about slaves and having been enslaved.
Right.
Like that difference makes all the difference.
Yeah.
But most folks who haven't studied it are going to miss things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. And so yes, I think having studied our history is as important as whether or not you share the blood.
That was good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm a fan now too, by the way.
I appreciate you, Brother
I'm about
Howard.
to start with Don't Cry for Me.
Oh man.
That's the one I'm thinking I'm going to start off with. I know you have a new one
should.
coming out, but I think I'm gonna start with that one. I love the storyline. I love the family dynamics of it.
Yes, sir.
I know they're doing a short film. I'm not going to take up too much time because I know there's a lot of students here. I wish you were around with the students. I had Cornell West though, so Dr. West. So I did okay.
Right.
But yeah, I'm going to go check out the short film. But thank you for your time and thank you for the motivation, brother.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, and let's do lunch soon.
Let's do that.
My treat. I live down the street from you.
I would love that. I would love
All right, brother.
Yes. Yes. Get my info from my sister.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Yes, no problem. I think we have time for one more.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Dr. Daniel Black. My name is Amaya Yayi. I'm a junior finance major from New Jersey. I absolutely love your authenticity and you being specific because it does matter because there are a lot of people who do want to pimp us out for a white dollar.
Yes.
And a lot of people will not say that. And it's even me being a business major, a lot of times I'm going into white corporations and some people are just trying to appeal to their level instead of just trying to be excellent. And then also being Black excellence on top of that. A lot of people are not soaring towards that. You know, you're absolutely blackity black. And I love it because I feel like I don't really see that as much. A lot of people are very watered down. And I understand like a lot of times you're just trying to get to like a certain type of funds. That's why you are so watered down. But it's like, I just love it. I love Robinson. I love everything that you said. I never heard you today till my English teacher told me about you, but I'm so obsessed now. Like I just love people like you because then you remind me of my purpose as a Black person as well.
Yes, ma'am. Well, Amaya, I'm gonna tell you, I love you too now too. So
thank you.
and I'm gonna say one sentence to you, and that is, in America, Blackness is always for sale.
Ooh.
Always.
Okay.
We were on the auction block once, and now we're metaphorically still on it. Blackness is always for sale if you will sell it. Somebody always wants it. Somebody always desires it. Somebody's always willing to pimp it. The key to living authentically, the key to living authentically is to realize that your authenticity requires no one's applause. It's yours. And if you're willing to live in it, you can have it. No one has to agree. But God does.
Thank you.
Please give an enormous round of applause again for Dr. Daniel Black. I'm still on cloud 9 right now. And what a truly powerful and enlightening keynote. And I know all of you have some tidbits from there. Love yourself so fiercely that you don't need a white congratulations. You don't need a standing ovation. Be authentic. I thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Black. The price Black ancestors paid for Black life in America, and the list goes on. I have a bookload of notes right now. And I just want to tell you, let's all take a moment to reflect on the depth and the brilliance of the powerful words shared by Dr. Daniel Black today. His insights have expanded our understanding of not only Octavia Butler's works, but also the larger themes of where we play a part in this, with our identity, with our future, with our collective humanity. Dr. Black has seamlessly woven together the threads of Butler's visionary storytelling with its own profound reflections, showing us how her legacy continues to inspire and challenge us to think critically about the future of our world through a Sankofa looking back as we move forward. The complexities of race, power, and liberation that Butler explains in her works continues to resonate. And Dr. Black has masterfully reminded us of the urgency and relevance of these themes today. We are deeply grateful for the time and thoughtfulness, my brother, Dr. Black, that you have brought to us through your profound keynote address. Your words will continue to echo in our hearts and in our minds long after today. I would also like to take a moment to thank all of you who have participated in this lecture series. Your engagement and curiosity are what make events like this meaningful here at Howard University. Together, we are carrying forward the legacy of Octavia Butler, seeking new ways to challenge the status quo and envision a more just and equitable future. Now, as we close, let's remember that today's conversation is only the beginning. The ideas sparked here by our profound Dr. Daniel Black and the stories that we've shared, the testimonies, should inspire all of us to continue exploring, questioning, and creating spaces, as Dr. Black has urged us, where voices like Butler's and Dr. Black's can lead us toward a future that is more inclusive and imaginative. So once again, we want to thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. All the way from the ancestors are giving a standing ovation right now, and I know they are, Dr. Black, for your exceptional contribution to this series. And we thank all of you for being here today. We hope you have a wonderful day. And we want to also share with you to keep in mind that we have another highly anticipated, and we actually have our next keynote speaker will be coming up as well. And that's next month. And I think she's still in the audience. I think Dr. Kendra R. Parker, who is a Howard University alumna too. She will be with us Thursday, October 24th, same time, same place. So we thank you. We thank all of you. Please keep in touch. If you have any questions, emails below. And I will also put in the comment section a link to a survey. Your voices matter, so that we can provide platforms like this in the near future. So hang tight for that if you like, and also for information about Dr. Black as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have an awesome, incredible week.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.